Well, good afternoon, everyone. We are going to go ahead and get started this morning. This is Corey Melton. I'm Vice President of Membership and Talent Development with the Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce. And this morning, we are pleased to bring you some information on a new program with the Women, Small Business and Enterprise Policy with Office of Economic Vitality and Mr. Darryl Jones. So just a few tidbits of housekeeping. We are going to do question and answer at the end of the program. So if you will, please enter your questions and answer in the Q&A section as opposed to the chat section, and then we will get to that. If we run out of time, then we will get answers to everything and make sure that that is emailed out to all participants. And there will also be a recording that will be available on our chamber website. And if you'd like a copy of that, we can also get that to you. So with that, I am going to hand this over to Mr. Darryl Jones. He is also joined by Daniel Shear and Rod McQueen. So Darryl, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Ms. Melton. I appreciate this opportunity to engage with the Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce and discuss our revised and consolidated minority women and small business enterprise policy for Leon County, the City of Tallahassee, and the Blueprint Intergovernmental Agency. Before I start, I would like to acknowledge the Chamber's role in the successful completion of our disparity study in this community. They helped us to convene focus groups that helped us to navigate that process, which subsequently netted our brand new consolidated policy. I'd also like to acknowledge Ms. Gloria Pugh, who represents the Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce on our MWSBE Citizen Advisory Committee appointed by the Chamber. Her participation and influence has also helped to craft this brand new policy. So without further ado, let me continue with our discussion. So, following our disparity study that was accepted by the City Commission, the Intergovernmental Agency Board of Directors, which is a joint meeting of the City Commission and the Leon County Commission, and the Leon County Commission all ratified and accepted our disparity study and accepted these policies. These policies are brand new, the first of its kind, because we have since combined what was the former Tallahassee MWSBE program and consolidated with the Leon County program. And now both the programs that serve the city, the county, and Blueprint are housed in the Office of Economic Vitality. There are some important things that I'd like to share with you. I think that will be of interest to our business community that are brand new to these policies that we did not have before. And part of that is that we put an emphasis on providing greater heft to our SBE program, our Small Business Enterprise Program. And it's a procurement strategy that we created as a part of this policy to help create more opportunities for small businesses to be engaged in the procurement processes for the City of Tallahassee, Leon County, and Blueprint. One of those ways that we're doing it is by reserving projects that we identify in cooperation with project managers for the city, the county, and Blueprint, according to their size. If they're projects of less than $150,000 or less, in consultation with those project managers and the procurement offices, we're going to start reserving those projects for those certified firms who are certified with us as small business enterprises, which would mean that those certified SBEs would not have to compete with the larger contractors for these smaller jobs. Then another way that we're also going to create more opportunity for our small business enterprises who are certified with our office is that if we take a large project, we'll take that project and unbundle portions of that project and reserve utilization for SBEs. So for example, you take the new police station that we'll be building in the near future. A part of our plan would be to unbundle portions of that project. For example, landscaping might be one of the portions of that project that we may unbundle. And that would mean that the prime would not compete for that work. Instead, that project would be reserved for certified SBEs. So what we've done is we are intentionally doing our part to make certain that not just minority and women-owned businesses are served by our program, but small businesses across our community are also served. So we're encouraging all small businesses in a variety of categories to include construction trades, architecture and engineering, professional services, accounting, any of those different types of vendors that the city utilizes. If they're small businesses, we're asking them to certify with us so that when we reserve these projects or unbundle these projects, they will be in the hopper, they'll be in the queue to compete for those projects and not have to compete against larger firms. That's one of the benefits of our brand new program. Then, in an effort to build capacity for our minority and women-owned businesses, we've put into our policy a mentor-protege joint venture partnership and association policy. What we're trying to do in an effort to create capacity building opportunities for minority and women-owned firms, if they enter into a mentor-protege relationship with a prime contractor, it's all done in an effort that a smaller firm would have opportunity through that mentor-protege relationship or joint venture or partnership to work on a job, not just as a subcontractor, but would learn from the larger firms so that they could build capacity. They would be involved with the management of the project. They'd be involved with the labor selection for the project. They would identify the subcontractors who would be associated with that project, all in an effort to allow smaller firms to be able to operate at a larger level in concert with the larger firm. And we're incentivizing these relationships, these mentor-protege relationships, these joint ventures, partnerships, or associations, whichever legal definition that the smaller firm and the larger firm enter into. We're going to incentivize those relationships by adding additional points in a respondent score. Also, because the Office of Economic, the MWSBE program is a part of the Office of Economic Vitality, we're also concerned about job creation. And so what we've also done to incentivize the utilizations of apprenticeships or externs who are found in any one of our workforce development programs found in either Lively, TCC, Gadsden Technical, any firm that utilizes apprentices or externs on their jobs, we're now incentivizing that utilization by also providing additional points in their MWSBE score as a part of their response. So to take what we've shown you, full utilization, if that means if a firm responds and meets our MWBE goal, they get 10 points. If it's partial utilization and good faith, they get 5. But what's important is, although the maximum would ordinarily be 10 points, 2 additional points are made available if you enter into a joint venture or mentor-protege relationship, and an additional point is also made available as a part of your MWBE score if you utilize apprentices or externs on your job. Now let me go forward right quick, and we're going to come back to scoring. Here are our new goals for MWBE, MBE, and WBE participation. As you can see, the lion's share of subcontracting work is done in construction. Our new goals for construction subcontracting are 14% MBE, 9% WBE, and our other areas, architecture and engineering, you see is 8 and 6. Professional services like accounting, legal, those services are 5 and 6. Other services, possibly landscaping, is 6 and 8, and materials and supplies is 1% and 6. Now, going back to where we were with full utilization, if you look at those goals, If you meet those goals, say for example 14 and 9 in construction subcontracting, you get 10. If a prime respondent falls short of that goal, well, then but they have good faith, they can get 5 points. If there are no available MBE firms or WBE firms and the respondent is able to show good faith, then they would get 0 points, but they would still be deemed responsive. One of the principal changes in our new MWSBE policy adopted by the city, the county, and Blueprint, if a firm or respondent as a prime fails to evidence either good faith, partial utilization, and a combination of good faith or full utilization, if none of those criteria are met, the bid will be deemed non-responsive and will not be considered. So for good faith, we've changed the documentation for good faith, which can be found in our policy, but you will see a great number of those. There are now 10 criteria, 5 of which we met. You'll see that we have attendance at pre-bid meetings, copies of advertisements, copies of written correspondence sent to certified MBE firms, documentation that respondents selected economically feasible portions of work to be performed by MWBE firms, or just a portion of the categories that show good faith. Another thing that is also principal to our brand new policy is that not only do the businesses that are certified by the Office of Economic Vitality qualify, but businesses that are certified by the state of Florida and its Office of Supplier Diversity also qualify for meeting the utilization goals. So let me go back again. Full utilization is 10 points. Partial utilization and a combination of good faith is 5 points. All good faith and no MWBEs available, but yet you have demonstrated your good faith and effort to identify firms for participation is 0 points. But in an effort to incentivize the growth and capacity building of minority women-owned businesses, if you enter into a joint venture, partnership, or mentor-protege relationship, you can be awarded an additional point. And if you utilize apprentices or externs, you can also receive an additional points for a maximum of 12 points. This new disparity study and this new consolidated policy makes our office, because we've consolidated both the city, the county, and the Blueprint office and their projects and procurements under one MWSBE policy, we are now one of the largest MWSBE programs in the state of Florida. We're also one of only 2 municipal economic development organizations in Florida that have MWSBEs as a principal division. We know that through joint venture partnerships and mentor-protege relationships and the utilization of apprentices and externs will create more jobs and expand businesses. And then finally, the consolidated MWSBE policy and the opportunities it will create for firms makes it a useful tool for business expansion, at the same time addressing and remedying disparities in the use of minority and women-owned businesses. Finally, to certify with our office as a SBE or a minority-owned firm or a women-owned firm, go to our website at oevforbusiness.mwsbe.com. And then to learn more about our brand new policy, you can also find that at our website, OEV for Business. If you go to the MWSBE drop-down link, you'll go to Consolidated Policies, and you'll find our new policy, as well as it condensed in our MWSBE policy at a glance. Finally, I want you to know that the Office of Economic Vitality is committed to helping to serve businesses in our community. We realize that a great number of businesses are being impacted by this current pandemic. However, we are providing additional information of a variety of resources made available through the federal and state programs. So please visit our website, learn more about those resources that are available to you through our business resource guide. And then finally, we want you to take our business survey. in an effort to keep our city commission, county commission, our intergovernmental agency board of directors, and our office informed of what your ongoing needs are and how we can be best responsive to your needs, needs found in the business community, please go to our survey, also found at oevforbusiness.org. Now, to take this policy and to make it applicable, I have Mr. Daniel Shear, the design and construction manager for Blueprint, to talk about upcoming projects and how MWBEs, WBEs, and SBEs can participate in the procurement program processes that are available through those projects that he has coming up in the near future. Daniel?
Thank you, Darryl. I'm going to share my screen and show you y'all a little bit of an eye chart. I call this an eye chart because there's a lot of numbers. So first thing I want to note is, as most of you probably know, Blueprint is your implementing agency for your penny sales tax, 60% of your penny sales tax for infrastructure projects in the local community. Most people are familiar with the Blueprint 2000 program, which ended actually in December 2019. And back in 2014, the voters reauthorized for another 20 years and starting of the 2020 program. So we are kicking off the 2020 program this year and kicking it off with a bang with the current status of the world pandemic. So as we just mentioned, the penny sales tax revenues are going to be impacted significantly by the COVID situation, and we are anticipating that and working that into our budget plan, but be mindful that a lot of this is fluid in terms of funding of the projects. So 27 projects were identified as part of the ballot initiative back in 2014, and we hold those 27 projects very sacred. So our job is to implement those in priority order based on the elected's priority for those projects, and we go through those and fund them and build a plan to fund all 27 over the next 20 years, but knowing that revenue shortfalls like the current one and other impacts can adjust that schedule with implementation. So I say that caveating this work program, what we call our capital improvement plan, our CIP, in front of you right now. So up at the top under this blue heading, you see Blueprint 2000 program. This is us closing out the 2000 projects with the revenues that were collected via the sales tax from year 2000 up till 2019. So one major project that we have that's getting ready to be advertised for design and is the Capitol Cascades Trail Segment 4. I want to highlight that because right now we have about $18 million budgeted for that project going forward. And that's an exciting project on the south side along the central drainage ditch along Lake Bradford Road all the way down to Lake Henrietta. Be some drainage improvements, some parks, some trails, a whole bunch of good water quality stuff on the south side there for our stormwater runoff. So that's an exciting project. And you can see that we're closing out a couple more projects here at the top. We owe the city and county a little bit of money for some water quality and things like that, but those are line items that get distributed to our city and county partners to implement their projects off the top. So the one big project out of 2000 still yet to be implemented is Capitol Cascade Segment 4. So be looking for that if you're a design engineer or architect. Get on a team for that, that'd be exciting. For construction, we have the Capitol Cascades Trail Segment 3 project. So we have some amenity projects going on along FAMU Way. We call them amenity projects. We just selected a skate park team to design and build a skate park at Coal Chute Pond. Would be really exciting. But with that, we are just finishing up the design on some other amenities around Coal Chute, including a trail, hammock park, and other things that will need to be built. So if we have some contractors on the call, this is a great opportunity to prepare for bidding. I'll call it a small Blueprint project. It's not huge. It's a bathroom and a trail and some landscaping and hammock parks and stuff like that. A lot of flat work, we'll call it, concrete work and asphalt work. So be looking for that coming out this summer. And then another project we have going on the FAMUA area is near Anita Favors Plaza. We're doing some Van Buren Street improvements and adding some parking down there to the south side to South Monroe Street there to help with that business growth that we're seeing develop down there and give people an opportunity to park and enjoy that area and frequent and visit those businesses on that side of town without the struggles of parking. So that's a project, a lot of flat work again there with that, but simple project, good project to get your foot in the door, Blueprint, and 2 good projects there. Now, if we scroll down here and we see about Blueprint 2020 program, you notice that there's quite a few projects listed. On the top, I'll call it line 40 to 49. This is kind of off the top money that we just talked about before. That money gets distributed to our partners for them to implement their projects or fund certain things. So that's off the top money. So we'll move down to 51 through 59. And these are our mobility projects. I call these our transportation projects. These are the projects that are huge in our capital improvement plan. They really affect our regional mobility and are good projects and big projects that there should be adequate bandwidth for folks to team and have multiple subcontractors on these projects to meet the goals that Darryl was talking about, that his office is helping drive and set. So, big ones are the Woodville Highway on the South Side Gateway. We have yet to implement that. As you can see, it's not funded over the next 5 years, but it's coming. Another big one is Orange Avenue, Adams to Spring Hill Road. That's going to be a big project, and FDOT is kind of running that, but you can see that's not funded yet. So that's one to be looking out for in the future. Pensacola Street Gateway project. DOT has a project that they're feasibility right now out there, and we'll look to leverage on top of that, but we have $36.5 million. Again, not funded in the next 5 years. So you can start looking at that on your outer bandwidth for your plan for marketing. The Airport Gateway project is a huge project, probably the largest in our work program at $67 million. This is a very, very, very significant project for our community and the largest in Blueprint's inventory. We're getting ready to advertise that this month. It's May, probably in 2 weeks, week and a half. And so that will hit the streets. And so if you haven't been in contact with some of the larger firms to team up with, this is a great opportunity to get in touch with those larger firms and help them meet their MWSBE goal and also use some good work. We love our local MWSBE firms and we really want to support that. So Airport Gateway is a huge opportunity to potentially jump on a team and get involved in that in some capacity. Excuse me. The Northwest Connector, Tharp Street, again, not funded until the 5th year where we start the planning and study, which is this $486,000 way out here. But that's going to be another great project, a very challenging project. And it's our second most expensive project at $64 million in the current 2020 program. So mindful of that a lot of right-of-way needs there. So if you're a real estate firm or have some connection to dealing with right-of-way acquisition, that's going to be a big project for us there on Tharp Street. The Bannerman Road project, we've actually let that project for design to RS&H, and it's currently moving through that process right now. But look for that to go to construction right here in, is that 22? So FY22 with $33 million. So if you're a contractor, good project to look out for. My project, the Northeast Gateway project, the Wilani Boulevard, which is heading north from Fleischman Road to the northeast side and intersecting with Centerville Road across I-10 somewhere. We are currently in the design process with that, but we look to go into construction on that in 2022 as well. So if you're a contractor, something to highlight and look for is to pursue that project in construction in some form. It's going to be a nice roadway job and has a couple bridges on it, crossings and things like that. A great project. $50 million there, still left in that budget to spend. And then the North Monroe Gateway. This again is not advertised yet, but we're going to look at doing some things on the North Monroe Street between I-10 and John Knox Road to really make Tallahassee an inviting gateway into the downtown area as you come south from I-10 and North Monroe. So these CCQ projects down here, they're smaller budget, great opportunity for our MWSBE firms to take a prime role, as Darryl was talking about, or maybe a mentor-protege relationship, which Darryl talked about. These projects are smaller budget and do a lot with like placemaking, community spaces, things like that. We're doing a lot of these all over town. Orange Meridian, we've just let that design. We're going to build a new park down there and some stormwater improvements. So it'll be exciting. Market District is getting ready to kick off in full force. So we're going to do some placemaking along Thomasville Road and Monroe Street in the Midtown area. Oh, excuse me, that was Market District. Sorry, that's up on the northeast side. That's we're doing a new park in Stormwater, and we are doing some stuff in Midtown. That's the Midtown placemaking. I apologize for that. Lake Lafayette and St. Mark's Regional Park got punted, I'll call it, to the right. Some money was utilized for OEV to do some nonprofit grants, do the CARE program, the CARE grant program. So I think that's what it was called, Lean grant program, I believe. So that project's going to slide to the right until we can get some more revenue for that one. So put that one on the back burner a little bit. But you can see there's a whole list here and lots of good projects. And these are your local tax dollars. We like to keep them local, and we love to support our MWSBE firms. The last thing I'm going to do before I turn this back over to Darryl is tell you about an opportunity that we're getting ready to advertise, which is a great opportunity for our small businesses and minority and women businesses. Is we're getting ready to advertise a continuing services contract, which is basically just a quality-based list. So we're going to advertise. If you can prove that you're qualified to do certain work types, we'll put you on a list. And if we have small projects that we need to implement to connect a piece, or it's a small sidewalk project that we need to implement as a leveraging opportunity with the county sidewalk program, just for instances, those are projects we can just pick a firm off of that list and say, hey, it's your turn. Need you to go design this project and do the work. And we anticipate those being smaller dollar projects, I'll call them. And I say smaller dollar, but like $250,000 or less design contracts. That's a lot of money to a lot of people, and it is to me. But just to facilitate the scope and scale of what you would think in those, we anticipate sidewalks, small trails, retaining walls, intersection studies, small environmental studies, some real estate purchases if we need them, one-off stuff that it's not really conducive to go to a full procurement process on through the city, and it's just faster and more efficient for us to just hire a firm direct and write a task work order to them that are qualified, pre-qualified to do that work with us through the selection process. So I'd encourage all of you to look at that. That should be coming out hopefully in May as well. We're in the final review process of that RFP, and look for that to hit the streets. And it's nothing complicated. Don't overthink it. Just put enough information and resumes in there to show you're qualified to do the work, and we'll get you on the list. So exciting times in Blueprint, even with the COVID, and the revenue shortfalls that we're expecting on the tax dollar, limited input income for us, but there's still money for a lot of work. We have a lot of good plans, and we are, being prudent and efficient with the tax dollar, and we're going to implement these projects effectively, and really excited to get them going. So Darryl, with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Daniel. And again, what's important about this is that the importance of certification is that if you certify with us, when these projects are put out to bid, both for subcontracting utilization as well as for SBE projects, your certification with our office will make you will qualify you for participation on these projects. So we're encouraging minority-owned businesses and women-owned firms, and not just in construction projects, not just in architecture and engineering projects, but also in professional services, public relations, any variety of vendor categories that are both the city, the county, and Blueprint require services from our business community. Certifying with our office as either an SBE, an MBE, or a WBE will qualify you, one, for subcontractor utilization, but then also to operate as a prime and respond directly as an SBE. So I'm encouraging all of the persons who are on this webinar to take advantage of our certification through all of our very different types of representations, MBEs, WBEs, and SBEs. Joining us next is Rod McQueen. Rod McQueen chairs the Minority Women and Small Business Enterprise Citizen Advisory Committee, but he's also the the SBE Director for Leon County Schools. And again, it's intended that this webinar would remind folks and alert folks to the different opportunities made available through both the city, the county, and Blueprint, and now also Leon County Schools for our small business community. So Rod?
Thank you, Darryl. And I apologize for my share screen information. Again, thank you, Darryl, for inviting me to this workshop webinar, and I appreciate the opportunity to share some of the things that we're doing here at Leon County Schools. As Darryl mentioned, I sit on the Citizen Advisory Committee for OESV's Office of Minority, Women, and Small Business. Here as Director at Leon County Schools, the Office of Code Enforcement, Compliance, and Small Business. Part of the area that we manage is the area of environmental services. And with the COVID-19 pandemic that we're dealing with, we were able to utilize several of our small business vendors to help with the cleaning and sanitizing and disinfecting of several of our schools. And once we return to our new normal, we will be seeking some of our small business vendors on our registration, as well as on Darryl's registration, to join us in the efforts of re-sanitizing and cleaning our schools before all young scholars come back. Here at Leon County Schools, we have a small business policy, as I previously mentioned. And what we've done in collaboration with our purchasing department, we've developed a non-competitive policy for goods and services where items or services less than $50,000 will only take quotes, not actual formal bids to be received. And in that policy, we require that at least one small business vendor is given an opportunity to participate or solicit for those goods and services. We're working very closely with OEV and through the direction of the superintendent and our board. We're looking to revise or create a reciprocation registration effort with OEV. As mentioned previously in Darryl's slides, the thresholds for for small businesses are being adjusted to match the state's limits. And we're looking to do that similar certification level here at Leon County Schools. I'm not sure how close some of you may follow the board agenda items that we put up, but we're getting ready to recertify, extend the contract for our construction projects under $1.5 million. We're going to also develop a category specifically for small businesses for contracts, construction contracts under $200,000, which then that allows contractors and or subcontractors who don't have the capacity of bonding to be able to work on some of our smaller efforts, like through our maintenance projects and our special projects at our schools. I apologize, my presentation is not as long and detailed as Mr. Jones and his colleague, but you can reach me, Rod McQueen, at Leon County Schools. My email address is mcqueenl@leonschools.net. Phone number is 850-617-1800. And you can also visit our website, leonschools.net, tab to departments, go down to small business, and all of our advertisements for projects are linked in with our purchasing department, as well as several local businesses and municipalities that advertise for projects. Darryl?
All right. Thanks, Rod.
My pleasure.
So Darryl and all of our panelists, we do have a few questions, and let me start with one that says, will Leon County, City of Tallahassee, Blueprint, or the schools have the same SBA qualification criteria as for dollar and employee thresholds?
I'm not sure what Rod's are. Our threshold is $5 million, and our employee threshold, I believe, is 200 to qualify.
Our current threshold at Leon County Schools is 15 employees and $2 million. But as I stated, we are currently looking to revise our policy to reciprocate the OEV's policy to mirror it. And what that will do is that would eliminate the task of submitting paperwork to both OEV and LCS. So if you're certified with OEV or with OSD, the state office, we would take that certification and issue a registration here at Leon County Schools.
And we do the same thing. We check as a part of our redoing our consolidated MWSBE policy. We took on the same criteria as the Office of Supply Diversity. So we increased from what formerly used to be $2 million for the city and the county, and now we're at $5 million and 200 employees, the same as OSD to qualify as a small business.
Very good. All right. Next, we have from one of our attendees, please expound on the pre-qualification process.
Well, to qualify as a MBE or WBE, for an MBE, the ownership of the company has to be 51% minority. For WBE, a woman-owned business, has to be 51% ownership by a female. The financial criteria is $5 million company value and less than 200 employees. And if they go to our website, oabforbusiness.mwsbe.com, that will take them into our certification portal. And we're invite minority and women-owned businesses as well as small businesses to make applications so that they can participate in in projects like what Daniel described.
Fantastic. Okay, next is, how long does your business need to be operating prior to application?
2 years.
And last one I have is, I may have missed this, but if we are registered with the City of Tallahassee and State of Florida, are we in the program?
If they're registered with the Office of Supply Diversity, if they're registered with the OEV MWSBE program, yes, they are qualified. And what we're doing for those businesses that currently hold OSD certification, we're sending them a link so that they can download their information to our system so that they can then qualify with us. And that link will be forthcoming to persons who are currently registered with the Office of Supply Diversity.
Wonderful. And we just had a new one come in. Is there a list that defines other services?
Yes, that's a good question. Other services are identified in the application portal when you go into B2G now to certify your business, and what it provides is a variety of codes. And so when we define them as other services, that designation is more times than not identified by the procurement department if it doesn't fit into either architecture and engineering, professional services, and other services are more than likely services that are not ordinarily required in the context of our usual operations, save for example, a specialized type of consultation might qualify as other services.
Very good. Well, I think that covers it unless there are any more questions. Very big thanks to you, Darryl, Daniel, and Rod. This was terrific information. And as a reminder, we will be posting the recording of this session on our chamber website at talchamber.com. Just also to let you know, there are resources there for COVID-19 and especially our Jobs Now page. So if your business or one that you know is looking for employees, please let us know. We would love to add them to the list so that we can quickly link our displaced workers with good jobs. So thank you, gentlemen. This has been very informative. And with that, I will say everyone have a nice, safe, beautiful weekend.
Thank you. You the same.
Corey, thank you so much for convening us. Daniel, Rod, thank you for participating in this webinar. I appreciate you both. And again, if I may just say finally, please certify if you're a minority-owned business, a women-owned business, or a small business in our community, there will be opportunities made available through the City of Tallahassee, Leon County government, and the Blueprint Intergovernmental Agency as a part to help sustain businesses in our community beyond this pandemic. So please participate and certify with our office.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel.